Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, ladies. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Yeah. How are you guys doing today? Good? Alhamdulillah. Okay. Let's recite Surah Al-Fatiha together and align our intentions to receive beneficial and sacred knowledge tonight. My name is Diana, and I'll be your MC for today. Welcome to Her Convention 2019, Becoming You When You Have Failed You. This event is brought to you by our event partner, Luminaries Collection, main deco sponsor, Hera & Co., main outfit sponsors, Itita Hair SG, Sweet Rose Couture, officially supported by PPIS Family Therapy Institute, Yummy Takoyaki, White Dahlia & Co., Aina Cakes, Adania Official, Ria Miranda, Oma Beauty, Mama Light, Rania Russia, Sarah Hannah Quran, Pink Blossom Bakery SG, Jenna Macarons, in Bihar, Mimi Loma, Happy.co, Has Singapore, M Sportive. Desserts were sponsored by Pink Blossom Bakery SG, Aina Cakes, Better Crumbs, Bites.sg, Better Cheddar, Bake O'Clock SG, Surya Kitchen, Fame Pout, Bakerin.sg, and last but not least, Delicious. So for our first speaker for today, we have none other than Ustazah Liyana Musfirah. Ustazah was an alumna of Madrasah Al-Sagaf Al-Islamiyah. She went to pursue her tertiary studies, graduating with diploma in Sharia Islamiyah, Islamic law, and also a diploma in Dialogue of Civilization, Da'wah, from Mujamma Ahmad Kuftaro, Damascus, Syria. Coming back to Singapore, Ustazah Liyana was inspired to champion women's causes. She organizes courses and workshops specializing in Islamic education, Muslim women issues, and encouraging women to find their voice and see their beauty from within. Without further ado, let's now invite Ustazah Liyana up on stage. Ustazah Liyana, please.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let me just get comfortable first with the stage. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Ya Allah, please give me calmness, because right now it's beating so hard. Please make the angels be amongst our presence. So inshallah our hearts are open to receive, to absorb all the beneficial stuff inshallah. Because what I think is beneficial might sometimes not be beneficial, correct? So we dua, we pray to Allah will only make us absorb the things that are beneficial for us, okay? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. It's a pleasure to have a lot of women in one roof, but of course we need some men. So can we just give a round of applause for all the 6 men that help out in her convention. After all, it's not 100% her convention. I still need some, masculine touch in it. Thank you. Okay, before I sound so wrong. Okay, so today's topic, inshallah, is about connecting. My topic is about connecting yourself and connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When I got this topic, I swear I didn't know what to cover. It's like, connecting yourself, connecting with God, what's going on? Too many, right? Too much. So where should I start? So after much moments with myself together with my mirror, I decided to just share one particular dua because it's such a short session. But inshallah, more will be covered during the question and answer. So I decided to use my entire 20 minutes to cover about one particular dua. Before we share the dua, I just want to share a little bit of background about how this dua come out. Okay, we have so many dua, correct? We have so many zikir, we have so many recitation. When you're feeling down, that dua can come out spontaneously. When you're feeling down, sometimes you try to recite the things that you have memorized before. So many. Okay, so I want to push you back years and years ago, hundreds and years ago, before we are here, when this particular dua started, or where this particular dua was presented to the world. This happened during the most painful year in Islamic history. And we all know about the history, which is the Amul Huzn, the year of grief. This particular year was so painful, was so heartbreaking, that it got a name, got a label for it. What was the name of the year? Amul Huzn, the year of grief. So what happened during this particular year? We're just going to refresh back our history, okay? What happened during this particular year? No one wants to share? Share lah. What happened in the year of grief? What do you know about the year of grief? Besides the fact that Rasulullah SAW's favorite uncle passed away, what's the name of his uncle? Abu Talib radiallahu anhu. He was so scared. He felt like there was no one to back him up anymore. He felt like there was no one to protect him. Correct? Abu Talib was the one, basically, all the people were so afraid to attack Rasulullah SAW because of Abu Talib's presence. He kind of like the protector, the person who, if you touch my nephew, something's bad gonna happen to you. You know, we all have that person, right? For me, I think my person is Nabila, which is our moderator today. Anyone want to mess with Lena, you mess with me first. No, right? You don't have that kind of people. Okay, so Abu Talib passed away in that year. And then what happened? His favorite companion, his wife, his spouse, the first person who believed in him when the entire world didn't believe in his message. Who passed away? Khadija radiallahu anha. So he needed a break for himself. Okay, can you imagine Allah took away two very important people in your life? You felt so lost, you felt so confused, you felt like there's a huge emptiness in your heart and you don't know what to fill it in with. So Rasulullah SAW was upset. So what did he do? He traveled. He traveled all the way to Ta'if. A few days, this is a few days of walking all the way to Ta'if. And why did he travel to Ta'if? We know the history, but I want to go deeper. Why did he travel to Ta'if? Because every part of Makkah was reminding him of Abu Talib and Khadija radiallahu anha. Every person he saw would remind him of Sayyidah Khadija used to talk to this person. Abu Talib used to help this particular person. Every aspect of Makkah was reminding him of the moments he had with Khadija and also Abu Talib. So it was painful for him. Just like us, when we broke up, right? Hey, this is the Starbucks of our first date. He sat just there. He ordered matcha Thai latte. Does that even exist? I don't drink coffee. Everything. Makin you nak hilangkan ingatan you, makin Allah campak you. Nah, ingat balik. Nah, ingat balik. Right? You wanted to forget your ex-boyfriend's name. Suddenly, you have a job interview. The boss, the future boss, has the same exact name, has the same exact beard, exactly has the same nose as your ex-boyfriend. How? So he traveled. He traveled to Ta'if, and then he has this intention, perhaps the people of Ta'if is going to cure his heart by accepting the good news of Islam. Okay? So what happened? So he was emotionally in pain, correct? He was emotionally in pain. He lost. He lost a huge loss in his life. He went to Ta'if. He decided to preach Islam. He decided to share the message of Islam with the people of Ta'if. Guess what? Did Allah make his dua come true? Did Allah make it happen for him to smile? It didn't. Worst thing happened. Allah decided to test him even more. So can you imagine, when I was reading one of the narration that was shared, Prophet Muhammad SAW and Zaid, his companion, were walking across this particular aisle. Just imagine. And this particular narration that I read, the adults or the seniors refused to be on the same level. They were on the second level because they felt like Rasulullah was so jijik, they don't want to be on the same ground as him. That amount of humiliation. He didn't stop there. The children and the slaves were running and chasing after Zaid and Prophet Muhammad while they were leaving. They were leaving, but they were still throwing stones at him. Zaid was a very big man. Okay, so he used up his entire body, he opened up his arms like a shield, and then he tried to protect Prophet Muhammad from all around. Because he didn't want any stone, he didn't want the Prophet ﷺ to get hit. But the stones were thrown from all over the angles. In the end, both of them were leaving trails of blood. He couldn't handle the pain, he couldn't walk further, so he sat down. When he sat down, he was seeking protection underneath one of the shajara, underneath one of the trees. What happened? What happened? Two angels came down. What were the angels doing? The angels were asked to meet Prophet Muhammad SAW. They were the two angels that were protecting the mountain of Ta'if. So what happened? The two angels talked to Prophet Muhammad. What is it that you want us to do to the people who have caused you so much blood, so much pain? If you want us to crush the both of the mountains of Ta'if and then all the people in between would die, we could have do it for you. We could have done it for you. If the angels come to you and then the angels say, tell me, Liyana, what you want me to do to the people who hurt you. I have 10 pages of things of what I want to do back to that person. Or maybe 20 pages. Number 1, you have to do this. Number 2, malaikat. Please, this is a malaikat, you do anything, anything happen, I can guarantee you, I have 10 pages, maybe you have 200 pages, I don't know. Right? We always have something that we want to give back, seek revenge. But at that point of time, mashallah, the Prophet ﷺ, he responded with kindness. It was so dark. Can you imagine? You're already so broken inside. You're freaking, you're bleeding. Ladies, do it. Bleeding. And yet he responded with kindness. What was his prayers? And perhaps the future generation of Ta'if are going to accept Islam. That was what he said. Now, he made this dua. I'm going to share this dua. Okay? So you can... Let's look at this dua. This is when I read this dua, I told myself, this is what connecting with self means. This is what connecting with Allah SWT means. I was so impressed by the meaning of this dua, and this dua was a dua that Prophet Muhammad SAW made after that painful incident of Ta'if, during the year of grief. Okay? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma ilayka ashku dha'fa quwwati wa qillata hilati wa hawani 'alan nas. Ya arhamar rahimin. Anta rabbul mustad'afin wa anta rabbi ila man takilni إلى من تكلني إلى بعيد يتهجمني إلى بعيد يتجهمني أم إلى عدو ملكته أمري إن لم يكن بك على غضب فلا أبالي ولكن عافيتك هي أوسع لي أعوذ بنور وجهك الذي أشرقت له الظلمات وصلها عليه أمر الدنيا والآخرة من أن ينزل بي غضبك أو يحل علي سخطك لك العتبى حتى ترضى لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Beautiful dua. Let's just focus on the first few lines. This is the dua of Ta'if. If you want to Google this dua, if you want to get exact translation, you can Google the dua of Ta'if. So the first thing that the Prophet ﷺ, he was in so much pain. When you're in so much pain, you don't know, sometimes you just lost for words. You don't know what to say, you don't know, you have all this emotion inside of you. You know you have to utter like, Ya Allah, astaghfirullah, but nothing came out. So I'm sharing you, I'm pushing you back. 100 years ago, this was what our Prophet recited. He said, Allahumma ilayka ashku. Ya Allah, to you I complain. He could have said the word, to you I'm making prayer. Ujib. He could have said to you, I ad'u, I'm making dua. He could have said to you, I ukhbiru, I'm telling you. He used the word complain. Shaka yashku. Yashku means to complain. Legit, he said, I'm complaining to you. Okay? Ashku. What's the word next? Dha'fa quwwati. Kelemahan, the weakness of my strength. I'm complaining to you about how weak I am. He started his dua in such a way. Means, if our Prophet can felt weakness, so can us. So why, sometimes I feel I need to be a Wonder Woman. Oh, motivational speaker, influencer, I have to be strong all the time. He's our Prophet. He started his dua, he's in so much pain, and he started in dua by complaining to God. He said, Ya Allah, I'm complaining to you about the weakness of my strength. Da'fa quwwati. And then he said, wa qillata hilati. And the lacking or the shortage of my resources. From the higher authority of Arab, correct? So Arab ada macam, he's from very up here. And then he's the messenger of Allah. So when he went to Ta'if and people treated him like he didn't mean anything, he said, Ya Allah, I don't have anything. I tried my words, it didn't work. I tried my message, it didn't work. So he was telling God, I don't have anything. I'm lacking of resources. I'm in short. Okay? And then what does he say? Wahawani ala nas. And my humiliation among the people. Hawani. He was humiliated in front of the children. The children, servants were chasing him out. And he said, Ya Allah, my humiliation, I'm complaining you about the humiliation I had to go through a few minutes, a few hours ago. Hawani ala nas. Okay? Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. The one who is the most merciful. You have talked to Allah about how you are complaining about what you don't like. You elevate Allah again. You compliment Allah. The one who is the most merciful. It doesn't stop there. Look at the dua. Anta Rabbul Mustad'afin. You are indeed the Lord of all the weak people. He could have said you are the Lord of the entire humanity. You are the Lord who can have done anything. You are the Lord who's this, who's that. Rabbul Mustad'afin. You are the Lord to those who are weak. He's emphasizing about how he's in such a weak state. Anta Rabbul Mustad'afin. I'm weak, Ya Allah, and you're the Lord of the ones who are weak. And then he make it something more intimate, and you are my Lord. Anta Rabbi. Beautiful, right? Maybe you never heard of this term before. Anta Rabbul Mustad'afin. You're the Lord of the people who are very weak. Okay? Wa Anta Rabbi. Ila man takilni. Who do you want to give myself now to? He asked Allah. Now I'm here, I'm bleeding, I'm in pain. Who do you want to give me? Ya Allah, now who do you want to give myself or who do you want to give me now to? Is my English correct? Okay. Try effort I speak better in Arabic. Okay. Allahu Akbar. Ila ba'idin yatazahamuni, to the people who are far and distant, but at the end they attack me. Maybe the people of Ta'if, he traveled so far to meet them, and then in the end they attack him. Aw, ila aduwin mallaktahu amri, or to a near enemy who has bad feelings towards me. The people in Mecca, they were boycotting him. They were boycotting Islam, correct? Everyone who accepted Islam are being punished. So he asked Allah, Allah, I go to this place and then I'm being attacked. And then I go back to Mecca. What happened? The people around me are also attacking me. Now, where am I supposed to go to? What am I going to do? Right? And then, إِن لَمْ يَكُنْ بِكَ عَلَى غَضَبْ فَلَا أُبَالِي. But, so after he finished complaining, after he finished asking Allah, look at the amount of connection in the first few lines. He complained to Allah about his weakness and his pain. And then he asked Allah, he questioned Allah, Ya Allah, what's going to happen now? Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Look at the level of connection there was in the first few lines. And then he said, Ya Allah, as long as you are not angry with me, no matter how painful, fala ubali, I should not care. I will not care. I don't mind. Fala ubali. At that point of time, right, when you're so upset with God, you're like, I mind every single pain, Ya Allah. I mind every single traumatizing experience. But look at what our Prophet said, I don't mind whatever that I'm going through, whatever pain that I have to deal with, as long as you're not angry at me. Okay? And then the dua continues, وَلَكِنْ عَافِيَتُكَ هِيَ أَوْسَعُ. But Ya Allah, your afiyah, your compassion towards me is what I prefer best. He's asking Allah to be nice, to be lenient to him. He said, I don't mind, Ya Allah, as long as you're not angry at me. But he continued the dua by saying, but, walakin, but if you were to be more compassionate towards me, more loving towards me, afiyah, afu, more forgiveness, more compassion, that is a better choice for me. You can talk to Allah. Don't tell me, Ustazah, I don't know Arabic, I cannot talk to Allah. Allah understands all the, I don't know how many languages exist in the entire world. This is just one of the examples that I'm telling you. Look at what our Prophet said. He complained to God. He said, I don't mind as long as you're not angry at me, but I prefer something else. I prefer if you were to be more lenient and loving towards me. Okay? Okay, the last part is basically he's complimenting Allah, he's pushing Allah, he's praising Allah, and then he's saying that, Ya Allah, with your beautiful blessing, Nur Wajhika, the light of your face, please make things better for this dunya and the afterlife. Okay, so the last part is basically about how Rasulullah was praising Allah, وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ, and nothing is powerful except without Allah's help, except with Allah's support. So I like the first few parts of the dua. The first few parts where I felt that there was a strong connection between our most beloved Prophet Muhammad SAW and our God. And if he can have that kind of connection, so can we, inshallah. And Zaid was there, right? Zaid was there to witness everything. Don't have to memorize the entire dua. Don't have to memorize in Arabic. If you cannot recite it in Arabic, it's perfectly fine. Go and read it in Malay or in English. I've already explained, Ya Allah, you are the Lord of those who are weak. Okay? So I invite you to use this dua, inshallah, at any time of your life where you felt like you're so disconnected with Allah, you're so distant from Allah, you're so down, you don't know what to do, just call out to Him. Anta Rabbul Mustada'afin. You're the Lord of the ones that are weak. Anta Rabbul Mustada'afin. Okay? So you can see this dua, you can take a picture, there's no flower. Okay, I look forward to seeing you at question and answer. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ustazah Liyana, for that really awesome sharing session. Okay, for our next speaker, we have Miss Maimumah Mosli. Miss Maimumah is currently the Principal Family Therapist under Family Therapy Institute of PPIS. She is a visionary when it comes to her work with families. She believes in an individual's capacity to learn, and this includes broadening of perceptions and horizon. She views relationships through the ecological lens, wherein she believes we are also interconnected with our surroundings. All of us are connected and want connection. Without further ado, let's invite Miss Maimumah up on stage. Miss Maimumah, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am, firstly, I would like to congratulate Ustazah Liyana for once again being able to actually bring women from different walks of life to come here together to actually allow ourselves to learn and relearn again. I was standing outside when I was, everybody was streaming in. My heart just went pounding. Not that it's not because I was fearful, but I was filled with joy. I was filled with joy because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us this opportunity, this good health, and this moment for us to not just come together, but more so bring with you your experiences, I would like to say your pain and your happiness. And I think what's most important for me today is that I am around together with the Malaika, as I think Ustazah have mentioned earlier. The Malaika is just around each and every one of us. Where there is a process of, or a class and gathering of ilm, that is where the Malaika is around. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless each and every one of you who's here. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless your family who allowed you to be here. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to actually make you be amongst those who are successful. Ameen. Well, I'm given the topic of compass. So here I am thinking, on earth do I talk about compass? Do I explain to you the scientific aspect about compass, right? Or do I do all the necessary things that I do at work? But I thought I'll share this with you. Guess what? Did anybody know how compass comes around? Okay, that's a good start. Right. Now let me ask you this question then. Who in this room have actually experienced hurt? Or they did uppers, All right, let me ask this again. Who amongst us have actually experienced happiness? There you go. Who amongst us have actually experienced blame? youngsters have actually experienced distraught. Like, how do you know? Like, how do we know? How do we know that's the feeling that we have? The thing is, when it comes to emotion, we think we know the compass we use. And when I say that, if you look at compass, when you use the compass, you know how to use compass, right? And we all have been, I will just say, stupidized by Apple, that in order to find the direction for Qibla, right, stupidized, that's a new word, Ustazah. If we look at how we use compass, what happens to the compass, to the needle of the compass, as and when you are looking for direction? What happens to the needle? There is jiggling of it jiggles a little bit trying to find the direction, right? What's going on there? What is it seeking? What is the compass seeking? It's seeking direction. Everybody knows that. But what is it seeking? It is actually seeking the magnetic force up north. So who does science would know that. But the thing that I'm interested in is, are we needing to know what's up north, or are we needing to know what's in the compass? And do you change compass? You don't change compass? Seriously? Are you guys serious? You don't change your compass. And that's very interesting. Because the lead, the magnetic stuff that's in there, will actually wear down. So you need to be able to actually look at what's in that compass. And I'm thinking, if we are continuously having to find life direction, needing to deal with our emotions, and so forth and so on, if we are the compass, or the thing that's in us, the lead or the material that's in us, the magnetic force, if this magnetic stuff is actually not looked into, and you don't even recognize, how do you think we can find north? So the idea of compassing is that we, as a human being, let alone the different kind of roles that each and every one of you are doing, is constantly going to challenge your direction. Because there'll be one moment that you are a wife, those who are married. There'll be one moment that you're a sister. There'll be one moment that you're something else and you're a worker. You are constantly playing with direction. You are constantly faced with the need to actually look at your ethical consideration. What will you do if at all these are the things you need to be doing? Meaning, if you don't repair our compass, that's one. But the scariest part is, as you are wanting to use the compass, you also equally feel overwhelmed by the emotion that comes towards you as you deal with all these things. I'll give you an example. In my work, I see people in different kinds. I mean, subhanAllah. Can I just take this just as an example? If I were to ask you, sister, right? If I were to just ask you very quickly, right? What makes you decide to carry the baby and put the child in between your legs at the same time? If I were to ask you, you have a compass right now, what compass do you use? And the compass is called not southeast west, but more so compassion, mother, this and that. What would you choose? There you go. Is that the role of women? That we are a caregiver all through and through? No? Who says no? You're going to be in trouble with me when you say no. I'll ask you questions later on instead of you asking me questions. Well, that's interesting. Keep that answer in mind. So my point is, right? We are so busy with trying to find the direction and the compass, force direction basically, that we forget that the compass needs attention. The compass needs grounding. And if you are needing to be grounded, there is a need for us to actually know the compass. Because sometimes, while we are doing all the stuff, especially when it comes to hurt, pain, malara, and all those things, we don't know where we want to go. We don't know when we cry at that point, is it the cry of sadness? Or is it the cry of anger? Or is it the cry of an expectation? Or it is the tears because every woman have to cry. So we need to be able to actually learn in order to work your compass properly. There is a need for us to pay attention to what's inside. That's one. Number two, I think I have this thing in my mind that I wanted to say, but I wanted to say very kindly without hurting each and every one of you in this room. We need to find some time amongst ourselves to be talking with each other. Because sometimes the very thing that destroy the compass are the people we talk to. And sometimes the people we talk to, we think are the ones who are helping us with the circumstances that we are in. Let me tell you and be upfront with you. There are moments the talking is not helping. I love the fact that Ustazah Liyana actually brought up the idea of having conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think sometimes, even then, Ustazah, the struggle is you don't have relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the fact that we don't have relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we tend to blame ourselves for not having that. And then when you go through that level, you go spiral down and spiral down and spiral down and spiral down. And then you say, it's hard to get up, I don't know how to do this, but you keep on spiraling down. So, is the problem your relationship with God? Or is the problem your idea about God? Or is the problem not the problem? Is it about us needing to have a relationship? My dear sisters, and mothers for some and daughters for some, you and I are in relation to. You are constantly in relation. You cannot not have relation. And the best thing is, and the saddest thing at the same time, the problem is in the relation. It's not about what you want. Each one of us desire to have a partner, for example, or a goal, or this, or a house, or a condominium, or whatever. We got lots of wants. Lots of wants? Is that how Coco say it? Yeah. So we have a lot. That's that again. You Ustazah hari masalah. So we do have lots and lots and lots of wants, and that we have very little time to evaluate the relationship. Because sometimes in a relationship between, say, for example, Ustazah Liyana and myself, there are moments that when I say, for example, I just look at her and she knows that, oh my God, I'm in trouble. Or when she says, she looks at me and I say, oh my God, this is something that I do. We are extremely, extremely super good at making what? What? Eye contact. Yes, eye contact. We are very good at making eye contact, but we are also very good and very swift and very fast at making assumptions. We are number one. Like for example, when the sister starts coughing, that means she disagrees with me. Right? Or that, when somebody just, touch your nose, that means something, she's not telling the truth. We are very good at doing that. And we think when we make meaning, we are perfecting our meaning making. But wallahi al-azim, in that process, we never know what meaning we are making. Not just for the other person, but also for ourselves. And I think the scariest part is to not see yourself in the whole equation. So if you don't see yourself in relation to all the time, short of saying this, our attitude towards syok sendiri is number one. And the other thing related to that is that in order to work the compass properly, we have to do work with the compass. Is that right? But a lot of the time, women being women, I'll blame it on women. That's easier that because there's only 6 men, so no point in the conversation. But having said that, we are so caught up. And I'm saying this just to remind myself as well. We are so caught up with the brand of the compass. It's what the brand says that will shape me and shape my compass. Some people will actually spend more money on what they think they need to have rather than what they ought to have. Right? So, it is so important for us to pay more attention to knowing and understanding what is your compass compared to thinking how my compass is in relation to other people and that what people say about my compass is most important. Hey, your compass is not Prada brand, girl, so you've got to do something about it because it doesn't work that way. So you have to work and slog very hard to get my Prada compass done. But Prada being Prada, it's a product. But what's happened to you, what's inside you, I'm not sure whether it's Prada-able or whether it needs to be Prada-able. So there is a need to check whether or not our compass is moving towards north, and if north is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are we developing the attitude that goes towards the north, and are we developing the attitude the way the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have? Because the tendency is we think we can have relationship, but when we break down, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us that challenge, or when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts a challenge right in front of us, or not get what we want, we tend to question more of what Allah didn't give as compared to what we didn't do. Or what could we have done differently? So the question is, so if I'm sitting with Ustazah Liyana or anybody else, if we can have this conversation where she can allow me to check myself, and then I can have this relationship where she checks herself, as compared to saying things like, hey, you shouldn't actually go out with that man, you know? Because that man is probably no good for you, I think lah. So it's my thinking. So a lot of the time, our conversation with our friends is very much about, I think you shouldn't be, I think it's like that. The book that I've read is this. And self-help books say, you shouldn't be crying. The self-help books say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this and that. I know what the book can say. Every one of us can have and read the same book. Every one of us can read the same book. But does it necessarily mean that we all have and can have one meaning? We have not had the capacity, and I can say this very surely, that we need to do more of this. We need to be able to develop a way, the capacity to be able to have interaction with ourselves, with the people around us, and the people we need to be working with. If the people we need to be working with is our parents, then we need to learn how to interact with our parents. Of course, some of us will go out and come around and say, oh, my parents don't know how to talk. Yeah, so if you don't know how to talk, do you? Can you? Oh, I can't. I want to be beard up. So how can we develop a way of having conversation that doesn't move towards kebiadaban ulami? So there's a lot of I pause for a while because I find it very sad. Whenever people come to see me, the things that they say about what people say to them are things like, don't be sad now. Don't cry now. You must be strong. You got woman power. Now got 500. Let's go for it. So, my dear sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us, and listen to this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tear gland. Not for us to produce buckets of tears, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tear gland so that we get in touch with our emotion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you sadness, not because He wants you to be sad, but He wants you to learn what it means to be sad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you not what you do not have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you things you may not have at this point in time, but that doesn't mean that He has abandoned you. It is so easy for me to be standing here and saying things in the way I just spoke, but this is just an invitation. Because the bulk of what we're going to be saying is a lot more later. But before is it 20 minutes or? Not yet, I have a lot more time. Is that what you're saying? Are you punishing me? Okay. I think my last point is this. My dear sisters, anyone who's able to stand right here, any ustaz, any ustazah, any therapist, anyone, every one of us standing here can say things. The real work is right here. And not everything we say has to be a position you adopt almost immediately, because that's the challenge. So you think what we say you can go back home and apply. No. The thing that we say is inviting you to recalibrate. If you're writing down something, write this word down. You need to find the knowledge that we are talking about to suit your context. Because the context that you have, my dear sister, as compared to the context of my dear sister over here, is different. We cannot assume that we all are in the same place just because some of us are hijabi, some of us are not, and just because we have the female genitalia, it doesn't mean that our experiences is the same. We need to establish that. So please be mindful about the knowledge we have, because some of the knowledge requires for us to find in each and every one of us what fits with you. Otherwise, we will kulhum all the time and say, oh, because Ustaz Lee says this and says that. Because if I can give you an example, I see a lot of couples, and a lot of the fights and disagreement, they come to us and talk about, some of it is, my husband during the kursus rumah tangga say, want to do this, want to do that, want to go sembahyang and this and that. After marriage, he go and sembah ayam. And then I asked what you mean by sembah ayam, or this sembahyang dia kulhum kan. Dia lagak kan, Zohor and Asar, dia combine kan. So then people develop different practices. So, do you blame the ustad? Or do you blame the couple? Or where can the conversation begin? So, again, it is so tempting to just put the blame. And it's so tempting to be feeling, because sometimes women think it's okay to be blamed. Did you know that? Some women actually think it's okay for the men to actually blame them. How nice is that? The world would be a better place if that's the situation, isn't it? But it's not. So So I think it is important for us to take note of the information that we are getting. Because the information is information unless you interact with it. So you have the responsibility of interacting with information and knowledge. Because there's so many things that we do not know that we need to know. There's so many things that we think we know, but actually we do not know. There's so many things that we don't know at all. And the best part of it all is the things that we do not know largely is who are we and who we are. So that requires deliberation, a friend who sits next to you and who can actually understand, or sometimes, but the worst part is sometimes women expect their husband to be everything, which includes being therapist. This is sad. But the thing is, we need to know, please remember this, we need to know who we're talking to. And make sure who we talk to with are able to actually grant us feedback that allows us the development of our thought processes and not just the things we need to do. Yeah? So, with that, I have 3 minutes again. I think that's pretty fine because I think I'd like to have more conversation later on. I think before I end, I just wanted to quickly respond to the dua of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I think in wanting to have the right compass, one of the things that we need to really, really begin to have is the commitment to have good relationship with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Because the good relationship with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala includes having good regards, knowing His name, knowing His attributes, knowing what He can and He will do. And that requires effort and that requires time. Because every time we make the sujood, Allah is closer than our jugular veins. I think everybody is aware of that. Do you know that? When we are doing our sujood, that's when we are actually closest to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And I think the way to actually realign our compass, which is why every single prayer, if you have any one of us ask that question, why do we do that? Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Why is it that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is inviting us to renew our article of faith? Allah is constantly inviting us. Allah is constantly wanting you to come back to Him. And every single thing that He puts in front of you is really an invitation for you to go back to Him and perhaps read more of such dua and also being able to have good, kind regards towards Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maimumah and Ustazah Liyana. Just a short takeaway from both speakers. For Ustazah Liyana, thank you for sharing with us the story of the Prophet in Ta'if and also sharing with us the dua. It is really helpful. Inshallah, we can use this when we feel the lowest. Because the dua from the Prophet is the best dua we can ever make. And thank you, Ms. Maimumah, for teaching me another perspective and another meaning of what a compass means. Yeah. And you have taught me to know and understand my own compass and to recalibrate myself to suit my own context and to not assume others' contexts. Okay. We'll be having our question and answer session later. So please do visit Slido, sli.do, to drop in any burning questions. Our code is #aconvention. Right now, we'll be having our salat break. Toilets are outside on your right when you exit. The prayer area is also behind, and we'll be having a salat jama'ah at 4:50 p.m. Alright, so please approach our volunteers if you need any assistance because we are happy to help you. During this break, you can also head over outside to the booths to buy some goodies and stuff or food, and remember to be seated back by 5:15 p.m. With that, see you soon. Welcome back, ladies. Right now, we'll be having our question and answer session. A session I know a lot of you are looking forward to. Our moderator for this session will be Miss Nabila Bagani. Miss Nabila is a systemic therapist from PPIS Family Therapy Institute. One of Miss Nabila's favorite quote is by Robertson Davis. It goes, okay, this is my important moment. The eyes can only see what the mind is prepared to comprehend. Ceba. Okay. To her, it reflects the power of the lens we choose to put on to see and make sense of the world. Much like the glasses we wear, the lens of the camera, or even the filters we use before posting our photos up on social media. I would now like to invite Miss Nabila, Miss Maimumah, and Ustazah Liyana up on stage.
When I feel for tender, finally free. Every single word is perfect as it can be. And I need to take you with me. When you took me, I find
Right, thank you, Diana. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had some nice desserts and check out the booth. So this is our Q&A session, and we will be having a conversation with all of you as well. I think there is a Slido for all the questions, right? But I think before we go, I think I'll give you some time to go about and ask some more questions. I think the hashtag is her convention. Okay, all right. So we've heard from both Ustazah Liyana and also Ms. Maimumah. I think one of the things that I was picking up as I heard both of you is you talked a lot about this idea of connecting, right? And I think I'd just like to hear a little bit from both of you. What does connection means for you, Ms. Maimumah, and what does connection mean for you, Ustazah Liyana?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. That's a very important question. Like, what made you ask the question?
Exactly. This was an easy question.
Yes.
I thought that's an easy. We're talking about connection. So I like maybe because Ms. Maimumah talked about different meanings to different words. So I thought let's hear a little bit more about what connection means to both of the speakers today.
Well, I think for me, connection means to include disconnection. Because sometimes, what you don't understand, I haven't finished.
Ouch.
Yeah. Breathe in, Liana. So, yeah. Okay, anyway, so when I talk about connection, I think there is it's so natural for all of us to want to build connection. And the desire to actually have connection is both natural and sometimes pressured. Let's say, for example, those who are in their 21 years of age, there's 21, put up your hands, 21 years of age. Anybody in the house? Like 22, like put up your hands, don't not put up your hands, that's good. So people who are 21 and the desired connection the push for connection is, why aren't you married? And those kind of stuff. So the society, somebody came up to me and said that they're in sociology, and it makes sense. Well, it's just so beautiful that we're going to have a sociologist in the house. But nonetheless, the push for connection is one thing. The other is the natural instinct for connection. But people always forget that in those process, you will experience disconnection. And disconnection, usually we think it's a total disconnection, but sometimes disconnection is a temporary process. So that's what I meant when I talk about connection, because it's very natural. It's very natural. And in my work, I've realized and recognized that even people who has addiction or who have addiction, whether or not to pornography or to drug addiction and so forth and so on, it is actually a desire for some level of connectedness. So connection is an important aspect because we are born to this world to make a connection. So how can we not do? But the thing with us is that we do not have time to learn how to make connection. Because if our family don't connect very well with one another, what we learn is the art of distancing. So yeah, before I take the whole lecture, thank you very much.
I think that's very interesting as well now because we always talk about connection, but sometimes we forget that in order for us to know connection, we need to also experience disconnection. So it's not about either we connect or disconnect, but it's about a whole process of doing that again and again and again. And part of that is also learning how to connect. And maybe sometimes it's useful to also disconnect before connecting again. All right, thank you. Ustazah.
Okay, let me just start by saying I'm very scared of Miss Maimumah. Miss Maimumah. But now I'm trying to have a better connection with her. By trying to smile while seated so near with her. At first, I was just so scared of her, I cannot make eye contact. For me, one of the things for connection is to have comfortable eye contact without having wet palms in my hand. Wet palms in my hand, you see? Okay, for me, my understanding of connection, for example, I'm going to talk about connecting with myself and connecting with God. For me, is to have uncomfortable conversations with myself. For example, I will ask myself, why did you do that? Why do you think you do that? Now what are you going to do? Did you think what you did was wrong? Could you have said something better? So I have painful conversation with myself in the mirror or to my pillow, conversation with myself, to a conversation with God. I ask God, like, why do you have to choose me? I've been doing so much goodness for you and you decided to do this. So for me, to have a connection is to have painful, uncomfortable conversation that I wouldn't be able to have with other people. I wouldn't be able to ask the same questions with Miss Maimumah, with Nabila, or with any one of you here. So for me, that is a connection for me to have raw, painful, uncomfortable, but I would say, open conversations.
Right, thank you, Ustazah. I think that's very important. What you're reminding me is how when we have conversations with ourselves and we are able to sit with the discomfort of asking ourselves different questions, difficult conversations, I think it's making me think about the word reflection. And I think that's a very important process for all of us to have, which is to have conversations with the self. Okay, I think it will lead us to nicely to this question that has 25 votes. So I'll start with that. So the question goes, I want to better myself and have a better relationship with Allah. I was able to do with small steps, but at some circumstances, I fall back. How to be constant? Maybe I'll ask Ustazah Liyana to answer this question. The question is, I want to better myself and have a better relationship with Allah. I was able to do small steps, but at some circumstances, I fall back. How to be constant?
Okay, there are many layers in this question. The first one is I try to do little things, and then I fall back, and then I go up again. I think the fact that you want to know how to be consistent is a beautiful start. Let me share with you a hadith. I really love this hadith. It makes me feel that becoming a better Muslim is actually doable. Because I've met some people who make Islam so, macam, oh, that's it. If you don't pray tahajjud every night, if you don't do this, that's it. You're not amongst the chosen ones. So this hadith basically makes me believe that to be a better Muslim is actually doable for every single one of us in this room. Which is Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, the Prophet ﷺ said, Inna khayral amali adwamuhu wa in qalla. The best of deeds is something that is done regularly, no matter how small, how little, how insignificant you think it is. It could have been something as easy as the three calls every night. And you really reflect on the three calls, you really understand what it means. Al-Ikhlas, it talks about how great Allah is. So the Prophet Prophet ﷺ said, the best of deeds is something that you do on a regular basis, although you feel that it's so small, tiny, insignificant, it's not the same as other people. Perhaps they can khatam the Quran, perhaps they can go to, Makam Habib Noor, I don't know. And then here you are, you don't even know how to read Al-Fatiha or Ayat Kursi properly. So when you compare your good deeds with someone else who's already up here, is maybe you can try to remind yourself that they used to start where you are right now as well. So when they can reach that level, so can you. So be consistent, slow, take things slow, one day at a time. And whenever your iman goes down, there's always a way for you to get back up again. Okay? So, thank you.
Thank you. I think I just want to echo that response very quickly, because I think the other thing that Prophet ﷺ said is that, somebody asked him about Iman, and he actually used his hands and said that your Iman will actually do this. It means it will go up and down. And when it goes up and down, it is also saying that we will, and we need to allow ourselves to actually go down a little bit. Because I think the push to perfection, the push to whatever perfect means, is actually very, very dangerous. Because if you're pushing yourself to the point that you are making it a chore, it no longer is worship. Because worship, there is this concept of beautiful worship. Because let's say, for example, just for example, reciting the Quran, it's not about reciting the Quran sahaja. What it really actually means is when you are reciting every letter, and in every letter, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will actually grant you the reward. So, in doing, whoever is asking this question, thank you very much, because you've recognized that you are there. And that's very important, because coming back to that idea of compass, that is the compass you need to build. You recognize the problem. So recognizing the problem means it's part of the solution. Yeah, so congratulations.
All right, thank you. So the second question also, I have a question from the floor. So before I look at what was given, the second question is, I think it's also another favorite, is why is it difficult to forgive and forget? And is it because we are not reda with what Allah has given us? Thoughts?
What's the question? Forgive and forget.
Yeah, why is it so difficult to forgive and forget? Is it that we are not reda? Is it because we're not accepting what Allah has given to us?
First and foremost, to do both at the same time is really calling upon somebody who has a, sikit atas kind of position. It's actually very difficult to forgive and forget at the same time. Yeah? I think we need to recognize that it is not an easy process. Although that's a value. And look at this. This is something that I said earlier. Sometimes we tend to be hard on ourselves. Forgiving and forgetting, for example, is a virtue. And in order to arrive at that virtue, it requires working on. Today, we may learn how to understand the word or the concept of forgive and forget. But doing it, we need to also recognize that it is very difficult given the context. Can you imagine somebody who has actually experienced death and then at the same time you experience an accident? How do you forgive and forget, or how do you not be angry with God? Because let's not forget that the higher virtue, or rather one of the beautiful value or asma of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is He is the most forgiving. He is the most, not us. We need to learn and allow ourselves to be abreast with those values. Don't throw the values away because it's difficult, but it is a value that we can move towards. And part of the process is to recognize that you will fail. Like for example, husband do something or brother do something, for example, you get very angry with him and you're angry with God at the same time. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. You think you are angry because of one situation, but what you are angry also about could possibly be angered by many other instances. So it is important when you feel certain things, you need to actually go back and recheck. What is it that's making me really, really, really angry and also not able to forgive? Yeah? Right.
Okay, I would like to echo what Miss Maimumah shared about forgiving and forgetting. One part of my code book was talking about forgiveness, because I myself find it very, very difficult to be okay, to look at someone who hurt you in the eyes, to smile, to just be okay with the fact that that fake figure, that person is there, right? So I always remind myself of what the Prophet ﷺ did. So he couldn't forget what Hind and Wahshi did to his favorite uncle Hamza, right? What did Hind and Wahshi did to Hamza? They killed him and then they cut his heart and then take it out, munch it. A lot of ridiculous things, right? That happened. But when Hind and Wahshi accepted Islam, the Prophet didn't forget about what happened. The incident kept playing back in his mind. But at that point of time, he forgave them because they wanted to make a change, they wanted to be better. But something very special about that particular narration, the Prophet couldn't look at Wahshi in the eyes. And this is like our Prophet, the most forgiving person, the one who's like, I can forgive you, I can forget about the things that you do. But he was in so much pain, he couldn't look at Wahshi in the eyes, and Wahshi approached him and said the Shahada. Because I believe it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And if the Prophet couldn't, look at the person who hurt his uncle, who hurt him, I think we also deserve to give ourselves time when it comes to forgiving and forgetting a traumatizing incident that happened in our life.
I think to add to what Ustazah is saying, she wants me to echo her. Okay, I'll echo you. See, I forget already. I
Sorry. I think you will come back. You will come back. If you remember, then we'll revisit that. So I thought I'd continue with a question that I think is quite brave that somebody had asked. It's not one of the popular ones, but I think it's important to address. The question is in Malay, but I'll translate it in English. And it's a bit controversial, I guess. So the question is, I am addicted to sex. And it's very hard to control. I've tried to zikir and keep myself busy, but I keep failing. And after I do that, I feel a lot of regret. So how do I help myself in that sense?
First and foremost, to this person who asked this question, congratulations. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you in noticing this. The issue with desire is something that requires not just an answer. This is something that I need to just, put a disclaimer. Because I don't want you to think that you can take what I said and almost immediately apply. I invite you to come to my session and have more conversation. That's number one. Number two, recognizing that you have that is again a commendable thing. And number three, the fact that you are trying to do something about it to better yourself, that's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to bless you with that position. However, one of the things that we need to recognize when you do have, again, an addiction to sexual, either acting out, I do not know the context to be honest. Let's say, for example, if you are married. If you are married and you have high sexual drive and it will and can have an effect on your marital relationship, sometimes it is not just the desire that you're talking about. Because it's more than that. Sometimes you want closeness, but sometimes because our mind thinks that closeness means equal sexual activity, then there is a need to correct some of our understanding about intimacy. Because a lot of the time when we talk about sexual acting out or desire, high sexual drive, it is actually the desire for intimate relationship. An intimate relationship can exist in any kind of relationship. I'm not saying I'm encouraging homosexuality, no. I'm saying sometimes the desire is present. One of the ways to go about doing it is to not negate the feeling. Do not negate the feeling that you have for sexual intimacy, for example, if you are married. So if you are married, then there is a need to have more conversation with your spouses, and sometimes you need to learn how to negotiate that. And this requires therapy. But if you are not, and that you are single and not married, and then you're experiencing, you are actually touching yourself more, and then you feel guilty about that, you see, that's why I say you have actually touched the main point. You have recognized the addiction to that. So in order to discover that, you need, again, more conversation to determine that process. Allahu A'lam. May Allah continue to guide each and every one of us.
Would you like to say anything? Okay. Then there are quite a few questions on anxiety and depression. So I thought I'd combine sort of like the questions. But when I was looking through the questions, I think it's more about how do we deal with these feelings of anxiety or depression, especially when, number one, people don't understand. Number two, we get triggered by what somebody else might say. And so how do you keep steadfast and try to, find the compass when all of these are happening, given that, it makes us have depression or anxiety or even suicidal thoughts, right? Maybe I get Ustazah Liyana to respond first.
Okay, so this topic about anxiety, about depression, because I want to make it very clear that you cannot put depression, anxiety attacks, and all these heavy words on the same level as extreme sadness. Sometimes we are feeling very, very down, we're feeling very, very sad, and then we cry for 2 hours straight, and then you go around and tell people, I have depression. So I don't want the word depression, or I don't want the word, anxiety attacks become something so loosely used by everyone. Because not everyone can just say, I'm having depression, I'm having anxiety attacks. You have to really go through something, it's a whole different comparison altogether. For me, before this, when I had those low moments, those times when I was shaking, I couldn't stop crying, I don't understand why, and then the moment I thought I was going to be okay, and then suddenly triggers come back, either someone talked to me about something that I'm hurting about, or either a memory flashes back, or there are so many triggers that kept coming to attack us indirectly, right? So at that point of time, I would just break down. And then I would break down for maybe a short moment, and then I would tell myself, no, I'm going to brush off this feeling. Why are you doing that? Now you're strong, right? You got this. Don't cry. I would keep brushing my emotions underneath the carpet until one day when I look back into what's underneath the carpet, it was disaster. Because I keep pretending I'm okay when I'm not okay. So I actually sought help. Why am I gonna cry? I sought help with Kak Maimumah. She started to teach me the kind of conversation that I need to start having with myself and with God. Because before it, I thought I knew it all. I got it all going. I'm a motivational speaker and Ustazah, so I have to be strong all the time. So I was at my weakest point when it's just me and her in that room. She doesn't see me as an Ustazah, she sees me as Liyana Musfirah. So when you're having all these very down moments, you have to talk to someone that can really help you. Oh, thank you. No camera caption, okay? So when you're really at your lowest, you have to make sure you talk to the right person. Because when you talk to someone bad, they're going to make your days even worse. Even worse than whatever you're already feeling. So this is not a sponsored post. This is not a forced, Liyana, you better promote the post. This is really, I went through a really rough time. And multiple sessions of talking to the therapists in Family Therapy Institute have helped me became so much stronger and so much calmer. So if you notice, that's exactly why I keep doing more events with them, because they help me so much, and I want them to tempiaskan the help with all of you in this room. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ustazah, for saying that. My heart feels very warm to hear you speak fondly of us. We also think very highly of you. And we're honored to be in this partnership with you as well. Right? I think it's always not easy when we are going through something. And I know talking about therapy or going to therapy is still a taboo thing for our community, but I hope that we can open our eyes and think that this is actually something necessary for each and every one of us. It's even therapists, we do have sessions where we need to talk to other therapists to help us out. So I think it's very brave of you to be saying that. I think it humbles me a lot. So thank you for that. Maimumah, would you like to respond or say something?
Yeah. SubhanAllah. Only Allah is worthy of praise, and we are all learning. One of the things that I constantly learn, although Ustazah Liyana doesn't know, is that she not only has the capacity to inspire others, but she lives it. She walks the talk. There are moments that when she cries, she cries. There are moments that when she becomes a bit siao, she's a bit siao. So she is reminding me of what one of my favorite Professor Tim Ingold in the United Kingdom talks about. The process of humanifying, not humanity, but humanify. Humanify means when you are able to actually recognize that you have tears and tears are rolling and you feel sad about it, you can recognize that. So it is really about the need to develop that muscle to do that. So how do we develop the muscle to be sad and to be weak and to be strong, but not give up, but allow? So it is really, that moment when you feel down, you need to recognize that you're feeling down. Because when you are feeling down, right, what is happening at that point is that you are experiencing yourself. The process of experiencing yourself always, sadly, takes place dekat atas katil or dalam almari. Right? Or, it's about doing things that will comfort you, so you learn. But the most important thing is what we need to do now is that we need to know what we learn about ourselves is helping us. Not helping us. So you need to differentiate. I think to echo Liyana is that when you are diagnosed with anxiety, that's a different requirement. But sometimes what you are experiencing is extreme sadness that seemingly look like or may look like as though you are having depression. So please do not downplay when you experience extreme sadness, but if you do require assessment, then you should go for it. you two can say something because you're also very expert in dealing with anxiety, right?
Right, it's okay. I mean, I do want to stress that point again. That we need to learn to differentiate between what is extreme sadness and when it can become depression, because it's a mental health concern. Right? So I know we sometimes loosely use it. Oh, I'm so depressed today. Oh my God, I'm having anxiety attack, for example. But sometimes we do feel very anxious, but it's not an anxiety attack. It's not a panic disorder. Sometimes we feel extremely sad, and of course we'll feel extremely sad when, say for example, we're faced with something difficult, when there's a death of a family member, when we have ended a marriage or relationship. It's expected to be extremely sad, but it does not always mean or equal that you have depression. So I think that is the differentiation that we need to learn to use.
Maybe I'll just add. A person who has anxiety and or depression, your emotion is basically muddled up. You cannot differentiate between rage and anger. You cannot differentiate between am I just tearing or am just, feeling sad at that moment. So when you are not able to do that, that is a very clear sign that you need to go get yourself checked. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be on antidepressant. Because this is what I would like to invite my sisters to take charge of your own mental health. Because when you go to the GP and tell the GP that I think I'm very depressed, I'm anxious, all they want to do is to cure you. So when they do that, they will give you, okay, fine, to calm you down, I'll give you a bit of antidepressant. Oh, it's just 0.5. What you need to understand is that it does have an impact on your body. It will have an impact on your mind. So when you do that, what can happen after that is that you actually will create a dependency on the drug. So this is the thing that we need to be mindful, and that's why it is important. First off, talk to somebody who can hear you differently. This is again not selling koyo, but yes, come and talk about the things you need to talk about. Okay.
Okay, good. Another question which I thought would be interesting to also touch on, another possibly controversial one, but I think it's good to also address. Yeah. So the question is, I am a former LGBT for the past 14 years. I managed to change, wear hijab, and trying my best to change, but sometimes it's hard as I keep seeing girls. I really not ubah. So what words can we say to this person?
This is a very close question to me, Nabila, because I have so many students that are like this. So they would come to me and then they would text me and they say, Ustazah, I'm attracted to girls, I'm attracted to you. They are very open about sharing about what their feelings. And what really impresses me is that they say they know it's wrong. They know our religion doesn't support this feeling, this emotion, this attraction. And at the same time, they are asking me, Ustazah, but no one from the religious side is helping us to change. We have very little talks, very little workshops, very little conferences that really help these kind of people. Because first, they don't want to be known and to be seen as this kind of people. Second, it's a very sensitive topic that no one wants to, let's do this is something needed. But on a daily basis, I have all these women, girls coming to me and say, Ustazah, I just saw her just now. I just wanted to kiss her, I wanted to hug her, I wanted to do things with her. And here I am getting all these different messages from all these women. I can feel their pain, and I feel so disappointed because I cannot help them. I can give dua, I can say that, okay, this is what happened to the Prophet Lut's nation, this is what happened in the history, this is what our religion says about this and that. But for me to be in their shoes, to face that person they are attracted to, and to say, no, I can't do anything to her, I cannot have that exact feeling. So I think number one is to talk.
talk to someone about it. When you guys talk to me, when these ladies talk to me, this is how am I supposed to do this? What I would usually advise them is to stay away from these people that they are really attracted to. Because the closer they are, the more connected they are with these women, the more they wanted to do something, you know? So I know it's hard, but try to distance yourself away from these women that you're attracted to. Number two is maybe start practicing fasting. Because fasting not only, not only make you cannot do the things that you want to do, but it can really cleanse, purify your soul in a way that you cannot imagine. So usually when they come to me ask for me for help, these two things I would tell them. Okay, fasting and try to distance yourself from the women that you're really attracted to. But other than that, memang I myself is looking for answer for that to help the woman. No, that's a very touchy, Maimumah. Please answer this question.
Okay, firstly, we need to recognize that, LGBTQT is very generic. Yeah, and it's generic and specific at the same time. And one of the things we need to understand, it is important to understand whether or not you have developed, you think you have developed the identity of lesbian, or are you non-binary? There is a difference. Do you know the difference? Okay, when somebody is lesbian, they have very clear inclination that they only want to have relationship with another woman. But a non-binary identity, generally, most of the people from the LGBTQT group, for example, may not recognize that there is this particular identity called the non-binary identity. Non-binary maknanya they have a woman body, but they do not like. They do not like being a woman, but they're not liking men either. So it is important, firstly, thank you Ustazah for trying to put people on track and giving suggestions like, for example, fasting and so forth and so on. Those are things you can try, but those are the things that equally will fail you sometimes. And then you go into the same cycle and think that, it doesn't work. Islam is so punitive. Why is it that I have a desire and the desire I cannot express myself, da 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 da. So it is important for us to actually recognize that you do have the desire. Anyone who's in that situation needs to recognize that the desire is there. What needs to happen after that is to learn to not normalize it. And it is possible. And you are right that we do not have a lot of conversation with the LGBTQ community. So it is time for you to actually have circles. No, wallahi al-azim, we need to have that because our sisters are reaching out, and they are reaching out and needing to understand the kind of conversation we need to have with them is a different kind of conversation. It is not about saying to them, this is halal and this is haram and this is something that you need to fast or whatever. The rules and regulation or the fiqh part about dealing with it is important to know. But the other aspect that we need to also recognize is that the desire is very real. Sometimes you need medication to calm down the hormonal effect. Sometimes it is hormonal too. But some people take so much of hormone that they develop a male hormone. Because largely the hormone that they give you will be a male hormone. So, and then you have some other problems. So this is important. That's why I think, subhanAllah, this is something that really is for you. Do find somebody whom you can talk to about it, but the person has to be able to do this. Not judge you. Not tell you that this is the thing that you need to do, this and that, and that this person can actually come and tell you it's fine for you to have the thought, but work at how you feel and think, because that can change the thinking and feeling. So if you can find that, well and good. Otherwise, please come to FDI.
Agreed, right? I think when we talk about LGBT issues, I think it can get very confusing. And I think I would like to relate because I have clients who I see in that context. It can be young girls, or even older ones, and it's a very confusing time to be in that situation. Let's not talk about what's right and what's wrong, but the confusion can affect relationships. The confusion have affected their relationship with their parents, their friends, and these are things that we need to be very careful about, right? And it's always very sad for me to see that they have no one else that they can talk to, because whenever they go anywhere and they try to mention, and they will test water, right? And I think the difficult part for us is, we are Muslims, and we have all these things that we carry with ourselves that we need to say certain things, but I think sometimes those things are also not as helpful when we are really wanting to help.
Can I also add? I think one of the things that we need to remember for all of us who are not in the category, please, we need to begin. It's not them or us. They are amongst us. Who are we to judge their sexuality? We do not know the struggle. We do not know the pain. I invite each and every one of us, if we are faced with that individual, it is incumbent upon each and every one of us to embrace them, especially when they are seeking your comfort as well as them seeking God through that conversation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and hold us in holding people who are struggling with that identity, because it is very real and it's a very scary process.
And I think it also applies, whatever you just said, both of you have said, also applies to those who are seeking religion, or who have stepped out of the religion, or who are questioning religion. So it's about how we hold ourselves in those kinds of conversations that can either push that person further away from us and our community, or that is where friendship can begin to embrace them back. Yes.
This is one last thing with regards to just the LGBTQ. The reality of that life is that you are living a life of surveillance. And what I mean by that is that you have accustomed your thinking to think that people are looking and scrutinizing you, just like the big brothers are, scrutinizing us. So you will have that lens, and that lens required some lens changing. Because if you don't change that lens, there is always this desire to feel and think that people are looking at you, or people are surveilling you. So it is important for anybody in that circumstances to begin to develop a way of looking at people around you. This is very complex. I thought I'd just throw it out there. So living the life of surveillance is very difficult to get out from. And it will constantly put you back in the loop somehow. And that's very scary for them. Which is why I invite ihsan, and compassion in the way we deal with individuals who struggle with, the development of an identity.
Thank you. Let's move on to another question, another popular question. I know it's like an abrupt move from one question or one topic to another, but this is, free for all. So the question that is also quite popular is, we do istikharah to help us make a decision. How do we know that the things that happen after the istikharah, for example, dreams, are signs/questions or answers to our prayers? Ustazah.
So this is a very popular question. Every time there's a talk, they always ask Ustazah, and then istihara, I saw option A, I saw option B, I saw option C, but my heart was option D. So what does that mean? Correct? It's a very, very popular question. And I think, congratulations. No, I sound like a therapist now. The fact that you tried, you want Allah SWT to be a part of you making a decision for your life, there's a very, very impressive start, mashallah. Because some people, I know a lot of people actually, they feel that they know more because this is their life.
they think that they decide the best for their life. This is my life, Ustazah. I know what's best for me. Why should I ask Allah to be part of this decision making? So if you look back at the definition of istikhara, it means talabul khiyara inda Allah ta'ala. Is to ask and seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for goodness. It doesn't ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to select an option for you. It says khiyara, goes back to the word khair. Is to ask Allah to give you the best and what's good in every of each option. Okay? So, and the question just now say that to get the answers from dream. It doesn't necessarily come in the form of dream. Sometimes when you sleep after asar, that dream could be permainan syaitan, for example. You know, sometimes when you really, really want to get married to this man, your hati betul-betul dah suka sangat nak kahwin dengan si Remy, for example. Every day you salat istikhara, every day you salat hajat, the only person that you see is Remy. So even if Allah dah letak macam-macam orang kat depan you, Remy is hard. You know who's Remy? It's okay. It's okay. Okay, what about Ashraf Kyle? Adam Kyle. Kenal lah. Syafiq Kyle, Ashraf Kyle. See? Masya, it's okay, it's okay. So, like even if Allah tunjukkan you macam-macam benda lain, tapi hati you degil juga, hati you stubborn juga nak pilih that particular option juga. Habis bila you dah pilih dengan that particular option, bila tak jadi, you marah Allah. Syah tengok Allah ni you punya istikhara punya pasal. Dan kau yang nak benda tu, dan kau yang nak limi, pasal Allah tunjukkan kau macam-macam orang lain, kau nak marah Allah pula. Dan kenapa dengan kau? You see? So, need to really separate what is your, really what you want, what's your desire, and to really understand what are God's signs. You cannot go into istikhara by wanting something, a confirmation. I confirm on Remy, and then you istikhara anyway just to halalify your decision for Remy. You know you wanted Remy, but you istikhara anyway because you know, maybe Allah can back up my plan. You know? So then, if you really want Remy, that shouldn't be istikhara, there should be salat hajat. Ya Allah, I really want Remy. There are so many bad things happening, so please make it easy so I can eventually be with Remy. So really understand when you have to perform salat hajat, when you have to perform salat hajat, when you have to perform istikhara. Istikhara is to ask Allah to give you what's good. Okay? And one of the shurut of istikhara, one of the, what's shurut in English? Shurut, syarat of istikhara is for you to accept whatever that God answers you with, even though it's something that you really don't want. And most of us is not ready for that. Yes, you perform istikhara, but when God gives you a different answer, you say that's not the answer of istikhara because you've been wanting this option A from the very beginning. Okay? So, yeah. Why are you laughing, Maimumah?
Maybe just I'm just remembering some of the clients that talk about their certainty. They're very certain about their istikhara. And I ask them, sometimes I ask this question. If you are certain of your istikhara, for example, are you also certain of the responsibility that comes with the istikhara? Because the true or the best of us, when we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to not just equip us with the thing or the person or the decision, but also to actually prepare us to be able to embrace that. So the dua is to actually ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make me, not just make the person, for example, if it is marriage, make the person, I know Dio is who? I know Dio. Dio is Korea, you don't know that? I see that. I see, you don't know. I know. My 25-year-old friend teach me. So anyway, why did I bring Dio in? So yes, all I just wanted to say, see for example, marriage is something that we look out for. We need to be, one of the things we need to be doing more of is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us prepare ourselves to be the partner for this other person. Likewise, if this is the best for us, make us then be together. Even in any decision making. So please remember that you are part of the dua and that you are not in the position to relinquish your responsibility, even if that decision is not the right decision. So the best of istikhara is to actually make us the best amongst those who embrace the decision Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided, but also be prepared to actually walk through the process. So please, just because Allah is Al-Ghafur and He is the best of giver, we hantam Him for the decision that's not right, we also hantam Him to hold us. If Allah can speak today in front of each and every one of you, you wouldn't want to imagine what He would say to any one of us. Because I think one of the things that we have just in the process that He has provided us is our arrogance in and when we are making dua. We have a lot of arrogance. We don't praise Him, but we expect from Him, and we don't work at it. We the word expectation is really huge here. Crazy stuff. Yeah.
I think you're reminding me of some of the clients I have, because I mean, in Family Therapy Institute, we see couples who are probably at their lowest or at points where they are thinking about divorcing, for example. And I have clients coming up to me and say, Nabila, I've done my istikharah, I'm going to leave her. Right? The answer is, God says I need to divorce. But I mean, as a therapist, I see there are a lot of things that can actually be worked out in the marriage. So my point is, I have also seen people who uses the answer that they think they receive from Allah in their istikhara as a way to endorse their decision. Right? So that is something we have to be very careful about, because are we asking istikhara from Allah because we want His guidance, or do we already have an answer and we're just waiting for something to endorse it, without realizing that sometimes that's really not Allah's words, that's just our desire and what we think we want at that particular moment.
And I think, sorry, just to add on to that. If anybody who's interested in reading up on this, you might want to read up on the work of Professor Heinz Kohut. One of the titles of the book is The Releasing Self. I think Releasing the Self, if I'm not, Releasing the Self. It's not a very easy book to read, but if you want to read that book, please have conversation with me, because those content in the book really will help you understand why is it that we are, not differentiated, ataupun we are not, when we make certain decision, how come we are not committed to that decision, and so forth and so on. So it has a better understanding, helps you to have a better understanding of who you are and how you're thinking about certain things. But, like I said, have conversation.
Okay. I think who's Dio? Someone just texted me and told me who's Dio. So Dio is a K-pop star from EXO band. You listen to K-pop?
I just know they like.
That's
all.
Very quick, people update you. Very good. Yeah, I got myself to
Go on in.
Right. So I'm not mindful of time, so I think we have some time for me to ask maybe 2 more questions. So please look at Slido and see which questions you want to be answered, because I think the one with the most votes will be the one I ask. Okay. So the next question is, how do I remain patient while waiting for Allah to answer and grant my prayers? I feel like I'm losing hope and faith by the day. No. What's the question again? They do this to me all the time. How do I remain patient while waiting for Allah to answer and grant my prayers? I feel like I'm losing hope and faith by the day.
I think I want to remind us of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Luqman. I think it is ayat 34. And Ustazah, she can memorize that be better because I don't, but the meaning I do understand. I have it in my book. It says, no soul know what it will learn tomorrow. And when I was reflecting on the ayah, I think again, we need to embrace the fact that we do have hope. And one of the Japanese art that I really love is that it talks about when there is hope, we need to also experience hopelessness. Because in real life, there's always a two end or more. And sometimes when we are actually asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are at our lowest. And when we are at our lowest, the desire for change becomes higher. And sometimes that process can put you into a position where you think you need the immediate help or change ever possible. Right? So I'm trying to explain to you the down and up of the situation. You need to recognize this, because when you are extremely hopeless, right, or when you are extremely hopeful, we can do things, say things, think about things that can actually do the reverse. But more so, for me, I think it is a moment of rest. I see as the unanswered prayers as a moment of rest, for us to really know what is it that we need to know more about what we're not getting. What else do we need to also be exploring with regards to the unanswered prayers? So it is a moment for us to recalibrate and so forth and so on. Because otherwise, this is reminding me what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us not to have. Because one of the traits of a non-believer is that you give up hope almost instantly. So I'm seeing this as an opportunity for us to renegotiate our idea of religiosity and our spiritual relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Thank you so much, I shared a quote in my quote book. It's okay to get tired and to sometimes lose hope, but it's not okay to give up hope, to give up on hope. So I remind myself of the story of Nabi Ayub alayhi salam. He was a very successful man for 80 years. Okay, please check the dates, okay? From my understanding, it was 80 years. Very successful, very wealthy. The people around his area respected him. And then Allah decided to take everything away from him. And then he was tested very, very severely for 18 years. So his wife asked Prophet Ayub alayhi salam, when are you going to ask God to remove this pain away? When are you going to ask God to stop giving you more and more troubles? And what did our Prophet Ayub alayhi salam answered? God has given me so much happiness, so much successes for 80 years. This is not even half of it. 80 years is not even half of it. I'm already complaining. Look at the kind of mindset that our beloved Prophet had. They were not focusing on the current pain, the current of like, I want to give up. They were focusing on the times that they didn't give up. They were focusing on the times that things were well, things were going, just the way they wanted. And then looking back at another story where Nabi Yunus alayhi salam was inside the whale's mouth. Sorry, whale's stomach. Whale's mouth, stomach, okay? Mouth, stomach. So no matter how bad we think our situation is, try to be stuck in a random tummy of is that a mammal? Is a whale a mammal? A whale is a mammal. So dark, you know that that's it. The whale's not going to open up. He doesn't know that the whale's going to open up and suddenly throw up. He doesn't know. But at that point of time, did he give up? Did he say, that's it, God, how could you have done this to me? It's like layers and layers of darkness. If you look at Surah Al-Anbiya, the Prophet was talking about layers and layers of darkness, the darkness of night, the darkness of the deepest part of the ocean, the darkness of the current phase that he was going through, layers and layers of darkness. But at that point of time, he didn't give up on God. He said, but rather, he praised God. He said, La ilaha illa anta, Ya Allah, there's no one like you. He was in the whale of the tummy's whale. The tummy's whale? The whale's tummy. Sorry. This is Dio punya pasal lah. Like, he didn't give up on God. He praised God. La ilaha illa anta subhana inni. He was angry at himself. He said, I am indeed among the Zalimin. Okay, so I just feel that these two stories, they help me. If you feel that at times you're giving up on God, you say, that's it lah, Ya Allah, I lagi umrah, I tulis nama lelaki tu kat Jabal Rahmah 100 kali, you tak dapat juga I lagi, for example. Maybe Allah nak kasi ramu. So really, itu salah spelling, dia tulis ramu, you tak tulis remi. Okay, sorry, that's the name. Please you now. Just remember to start Nabi Ayub, 80 years and 18 years, and also Nabi Yunus alayhi salam. I think that, I think we've had a conversation, answering questions, and giving inputs for the past, I think almost an hour. Right? I think we've come to the end of this segment. So in order to conclude, I think we've heard a lot on different contexts and different questions. Some of these questions might be answered immediately, and I would actually recommend all of you to give some thought and think about what has been spoken about today. Right? I think I would want to also touch on this last question somebody asked: when do we actually really need therapy? Because sometimes it may be petty. I think to answer to that question, Maimumah can add one. I think no problems are petty. And I think if you think that you'd like to have a conversation with somebody who may give you a different kind of input, that's when you come for therapy. So I have clients who come to me for what they think is the smallest of things. And they say, okay, by one session, Nabila, I just want to come for one session, for example. But as we have more conversation, it's not that we think about it as, I'm just solving your problems, but it's more about the approach is how we continue to improve and better our circumstances. So I think that would be my response.
So my quick response would be, if you have the same thought and you have always done this, I don't know, and it is repeated pattern that you think, no, I don't have this problem, I don't think I need therapy, you actually do need that.
And I think I always say to my clients, I'm glad that you came this early in your stage. For example, marriage, 1-2 months, for example, or wherever. Because kalau dah nazak baru nak datang, then there's really very little that can be done. Right? So before you nazak, if you think you've got symptoms, and then that would be a good time to come.
Yeah, we are very friendly people, guys. At first, can you show us some friendly faces? So, and like I said, before this, I really thought I had it all going. I do for Sheila, I do for this, I do for hobby, I do for all this. Like, mashallah, people, that's it, I got it. My ilmu said like this, why should I talk to these people? They don't even smile properly. When I go to, guys, really, this is not selling for your sponsor. When I talk to her, it's a different kind of conversation that I never had with anyone else. Never had with anyone else. She asked me questions that make me have more questions. Not helpful, right? But it's actually very helpful. So if you think that it is expensive, you think that you don't need, just give it one trial. One trial. You're not comfortable with Miss Maimumah, not comfortable with Nabila. There's so many others inside the Family Therapy Institute that can just look forward to having conversation with you. It's a safe space, it's comfortable, they offer you Milo. What else you need, right? Right, okay.
I think I just wanted to add, sometimes you are right. The problem is not you, but it's how you talk about it to other people. And sometimes it is not you who is the problem, it's the people around you who has a problem. Right? Yeah, so it is again an opportunity to learn how to develop an interaction that allows you to actually interact interactingly. That can invite people to understand you, and people can actually hear you and also offer, this what we call the holding space for you and them to have difficult conversation. Like if you can have conversation with your mom and dad and say, I don't want to get married because, and then without them giving you like one round of big step, then you are something else. You probably need to have a conversation about, let's have therapy or something. But largely, you need to know that it is not us. Sometimes it's not you. It could be people around you, and that they think you are the problem. So you see, it's very complex. So in order to understand that, we need to listen to you, not in a group. Individually, we'll give you that attention, inshallah.
So this is where I dwell for you a little bit. For some of you have gotten some of that for our brochures. We have a program called Relationship Learning Circle, where we'd like to invite you to join that and have a bit more conversation in a bit of a smaller group. So we know that sometimes going for therapy one-on-one can be a bit daunting. So this is where we call it, you imagine like we want to have like a support group of that sort for ladies to come together, and we will introduce you how to have different kind of conversations. Yeah. So with that, I thank Ustazah Liyana and Maimumah, and thank you for having me to moderate this session.
Thank you so
So
much.
I'll pass it back to Diana, the MC. Yes, right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ustazah Liyana, Miss Nabila, and Miss Maimumah. Do take note that there should be no video recordings for this convention. Alright. So we would now like to give our speakers a token of appreciation. First up, Miss Nabila. Next, we have Miss Maimumah. And last but not least, we have Ustazah Liyana. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday